Hey everybody, how you doing? Hopefully the weekend treated you well. I spent some time this weekend, as I typically do on weekends, just going through a bunch of charts, trying to get organized for the upcoming week. And I wanted to share with you some of my favorite setups coming into next week. So let's get started. First one here is Macy's, and these are all long ideas, by the way. First one is Macy's. This one you could see it's been in a really strong uptrend since last fall. Since it had this gap up here in May, it's been a beast, and it's kind of took those gains. It's been orderly consolidating now. Now it's returning to a point here. We'll call it around $35. That acted briefly as resistance here before it broke out. Bounced off that level a little bit Thursday. It still hasn't really quite broken out of this consolidation pattern yet, but it's one I definitely have my eyes on. If it can clear this, 37-ish area, this is one I would look to get long. So that's Macy's. Next one is FSCT. This is a newer issue. It just started trading last fall, and we can see here this price, this 36-ish level here was resistance here, here. In here last week, and then it just took a real shallow dip. So sometimes a shallow dip like that precedes an eventual breakout. Nothing's guaranteed, but it shows, buyers are maybe stepping in a little bit earlier, foreshadowing a breakout. So what I'm looking for is for price to get above, 37.50 or so, and I would look to get long this one. This is FSCT, Forescout Technologies. Next one, I talked about this on last week's video. I'll zoom out to the weekly here. This is MCF, Contango Oil and Gas. There's this level around 575. That was support here back in 2017. Turned resistance, consolidated for a few weeks right around it. You can see that here closer up, and then it broke above it. So it had that big breakout that was last Monday. Kind of calmed down a little since then, gave a little bit back. So this is one, if it continues to consolidate, back to the $6 area or so in an orderly way, then it starts showing signs of moving back up. This is one I'm looking to get long. That's MCF. Different pullback setup here. This is CF Industries. So there's this price area around $42 here that was resistance here, broke above it. It's back there. This coincides with the 50-day simple moving average, and this is also 38.2% Fibonacci retracement from these April lows. So we have three potential areas of support. It's all potential support until it actually proves itself. But if this one starts springing off this 42 level, it looks like a very tradable idea to me with the stop below the yellow. Next one's Morningstar. This one had a huge breakout on Friday. I did not enter it, but this is one I'll be watching next week. If it can, maybe consolidate or set back up. It's not too far above the buy point there. If you put your stop under Friday's close, that's tight enough for me. But this is one that I'll be watching next week just to see how it reacts. Had that big breakout on big volume, so I'll be keeping my eye on that next week. A couple energy names. HLX, Helix Energy. You can see this one, this area 850 or so was resistance here back early in the year. Same in May and July. And now it's right there. It's kind of just staying right there. Again, a little shallow dip there in July. So we'll see if it can eventually break out. I'm looking for the 875-ish area here. If it can break out there, that might get my attention. So that's HLX. Next one is a little tighter pattern. I like the look of this one a little better. And keep in mind, too, HLX and SU, this one we're looking at here, both have earnings coming up next week. So you want to be careful with that, especially this time of year. Earnings season's picking up, so you got to be careful watching those dates when you're making trades. So this one has, this $42 area is resistance up here and here. It's resistance in June and July there. And again, it's just kind of been consolidating right around that point, around 42. So I'm looking for this one to break that 42 level, and if it does, that might get me long with a stop a little under that yellow box, give it a little room. So SU, couple more here. WP, wordplay, same idea. This 85.50 or so was resistance here, came back, tested it, failed here. Now it broke back above that on Thursday, and Friday just kind of stood it still. But if it can hold this level, it's a nice area to trade off against, because you have your defined risk here with the yellow box. So you could put your stop a little bit under that, and it's in an uptrend. So the odds are that trend continues. So another one I have my eye on there. Zixi, this is one I almost bought Friday, but I didn't. It showed some weakness later in the day. So we have this area around 550. It's bumped up against a few times. Thursday made a nice move Friday it looked, it looked like it was starting to pull away, and it didn't quite do it. So this is what I'm keeping my eye on next week. If it can pull above, 560 or so, it's one I'll be looking to potentially get long. And last one, this is one I am. I entered it here on this retest back in late June. So I am long this one, but it then broke again above this level around $30, and looks like it's kind of orderly consolidating. So I'd watch it here around this $30 level, and if it looks like it starts to bounce off that, this is a nice a potential long play for you. So hopefully that gives you some ideas for next week. You found this helpful. Be sure, if you're interested, to check out ttptrading.com. It's myself and CJ Agresta doing our best to give education and trade ideas and live trade alerts. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and I hope you all have a great week. Thank you.